Salem is about to be a day of revelations, emotional reckonings, and dramatic returns. Friday, April 11, 2025 promises to bring the kind of soap opera magic that fans of Days of Our Lives have loved for decades. The return of Vivian, a woman with a plan. The day begins with a bombshell return to the Kiriakis' mansion. Vivian is back in town. Last seen behind bars, this master manipulator doesn't come empty-handed. She comes with a victory to savor and schemes still simmering. Her arrival is met with raised eyebrows, especially by Philip and Kate, who both know that Vivian doesn't show up unless she's ready to collect on a deal or burn everything to the ground if she doesn't get what she wants. Vivian had orchestrated the fake documents that altered Victor Kiriaki's final wishes, ensuring Philip would seize control of Titan Industries instead of Xander. That manipulation was accepted by several people in town, whether out of convenience, fear, or loyalty. Philip played along. So did Kate. And even Sarah, Stephanie, and Alex had their own reasons for not challenging the narrative. The scheme worked, giving Vivian's favorite son the power seat. Now, with her scheme a success, Vivian wants her reward. But her visit isn't just a quiet celebration. It's a confrontation. She's ready to make demands, and not everyone is ready to pay her price. The Titan throne may have been won, but the battle for control is just beginning. Romance, confessions, and concerns as the Kiriakis' drama simmers. Love and tension stir elsewhere. Xander and Sarah are spotted on what should be a light-hearted, romantic date. After all the ups and downs they've endured, they deserve a moment of peace. But with Titan drama, family secrets, and Salem's unpredictable nature, their bliss might be short-lived. Meanwhile, Chanel is navigating a storm of her own. A week ago, she and Johnny were focused on the possibility of adopting Sophia and Tate's child. It was a moment of hope, excitement, and dreaming about building a family together. But that dream has shattered, partly because of societal barriers and prejudices, and partly because the chaos surrounding Johnny's family is escalating. Confused and overwhelmed, Chanel turns to the one person who's always had her back. Her mother, Paulina. The mayor might be busy running the city, but nothing comes before her daughter's well-being. Paulina lends an ear, offers her characteristic blend of sass and wisdom, and reminds Chanel of her strength. Chanel may feel like her world is spinning, but Paulina ensures she stays grounded. Shocking secrets and family fallout, but the biggest drama of the day belongs to the DiMera family. Johnny visits his father, still lying comatose in a hospital bed. His emotions are tangled: grief, confusion, anger, all compounded by uncertainty about who pulled the trigger in EJ's shooting. While he's processing his pain, he's blindsided by the arrival of his mother, Sammy. Sammy's return is anything but triumphant. She's walking back into a minefield. Her son is desperate for answers, and this time, the charming lies and manipulations she's used in the past won't cut it. He wants the truth about the past, about EJ, and about her own choices. But before she can fully explain, someone else steps in: Kate. In a moment that will leave viewers stunned, Kate delivers a revelation that will change Johnny's life forever. She tells him that years ago, EJ raped Sammy, and that Johnny himself is the product of that horrific act. The revelation is nuclear. Johnny is blindsided, horrified, and furious. The man he's called father is now tied to a violent past he never imagined. And his mother, who spent years trying to shield him, suddenly seems like a stranger. His fury is explosive, and in that fury, suspicion begins to form. Could Johnny have pulled the trigger in a moment of rage? Could his emotional turmoil have pushed him to seek justice or revenge? He becomes a prime suspect in the attempted murder of EJ, and suddenly, every word, every alibi, every tear he sheds is examined under a microscope. But this isn't just about who shot EJ. It's about a young man reckoning with a dark origin, a family torn apart by generational sins, and a town that may never look at him the same way again. Rex returns, and he's not alone while emotional battles rage on one front. Another familiar face quietly returns to Salem: Rex. He doesn't make a grand entrance or arrive with thunder, but his presence stirs its own set of complications. He reconnects with Roman, and while their conversation is more reserved than others unfolding in town, it's no less important. Rex can sense something is off, especially with Kate. Her complicity in the lie about Titan and her role in revealing Sammy's darkest secret to Johnny leave him shaken. Salem has always had secrets, but for Rex, watching his mother weaponize the past makes him question everything. A perfect storm approaches as Friday unfolds. The metaphorical storm brewing in Salem begins to feel very real. With Vivian back and demanding restitution, with Sammy scrambling to repair her relationship with her son, and with Johnny teetering on the edge of emotional collapse, it feels like the entire town is on the verge of something catastrophic. The truth about EJ, the question of who shot him, the fallout from Titan's power shift, and the heartbreak rippling through families. It's all coming to a head. And with so many familiar faces returning, so many lies unraveling, and so many emotions running hot, the question isn't just what happens next. It's who will survive the storm that's already begun. The calm before the next storm? By the end of the episode, alliances have shifted, relationships are hanging by a thread, and no one in Salem is untouched by the chaos. Vivian has stirred the corporate waters at Titan. Sammy's return has reignited old wounds. Johnny stands at the center of a firestorm, not just of grief and betrayal, but of suspicion. And Chanel and Paulina find themselves watching the town they love spiral into uncertainty. But this is Salem, a place where secrets never stay buried, where the past always comes back to haunt the present, and where quiet corridors of Salem University Hospital, the fluorescent lights hummed softly, offering a stark contrast to the tense undercurrent swirling among its patients and visitors. One particular wing of the facility had become the center of hushed gossip. Here, family members, co-workers, and old flames constantly found themselves in a patchwork of alliances and rivalries, all revolving around a single question. Would E.J. DiMera, one of Salem's most influential citizens, recover from his coma? Inside the wide, sterile hallway, Dr. Kayla Brady, the hospital's stalwart chief of staff, walked briskly from one patient's room to another. Her duty was not merely to see to the physical well-being of those under her care, but also to manage the emotional minefield of concerned loved ones, some of whom had motives they tried carefully to hide. It was here, at the doorway of E.J. DiMera's room, that Kayla encountered Philip Kyriakis, one of Salem's most determined businessmen. Philip Kyriakis presses for answers ***. Philip loomed by the door like a silent sentinel, his expression revealing a mixture of restlessness and anxiety. He had come, he claimed, out of concern for EJ. Philip's tone, however, suggested something deeper than simple compassion. When Kayla approached, he immediately asked how long EJ was expected to remain in the coma. Although the hospital had publicly disclosed that EJ was in a medically induced coma, Kayla was keenly aware that she could not ethically reveal further details to anyone outside of EJ's immediate family. Yet Philip persisted. The fact that an official hospital statement mentioned EJ's medically induced coma, he argued, made him assume there was no harm in sharing how long EJ would be unconscious. But Kayla, ever professional, explained that she simply could not discuss specifics. She then asked, with a raised eyebrow and slight tilt of her head, why Philip seemed so invested in EJ's condition. After a moment's hesitation, Philip declared that he was only concerned because EJ was such a prominent citizen. The look on Kayla's face made it evident she suspected there was more to his answer. After all, Philip had lately been at the center of corporate maneuverings that could benefit from EJ being temporarily incapacitated. Trouble in business, and in love ***. Kayla was not oblivious to the intricate web of relationships in Salem. She reminded Philip that she was well aware his romantic relationship with Stephanie Johnson, Kayla's niece, had ended due to his questionable business strategies. The break in trust had been too glaring to ignore, and Stephanie had chosen to walk away rather than be pulled into a storm of potential unethical dealings. Before Kayla could explain further, she gently excused herself, citing another patient in need of care. With a polite but pointed goodbye, she left Philip to his thoughts, a curious tension lingering between them. Philip stood alone in the hallway for a moment, shoulders stiff, his gaze drifting toward EJ's closed door. There was no doubt in his mind that if EJ regained consciousness, it could reshape the fortunes of countless business ventures, and upset more than a few personal ones. Belle's vigil at EJ's bedside ***. Meanwhile, in EJ's dimly lit hospital room, Belle Black tiptoed inside. The rhythmic whoosh of ventilators and the steady beep of monitors set the stage for a poignant scene. Belle approached the bed and gently took EJ's hand, her eyes brimming with tears. There was a swirl of regret and concern on her face. She leaned down and pressed a gentle kiss to his hand, hardly believing he lay there so vulnerable. Suddenly, an unmistakable voice interrupted her thoughts. "Like you care." Belle's heart pounded. She whipped her head around in alarm only to see that EJ's eyes were still closed. He had not stirred. Everything she heard echoed only in her mind. Deep down, she could not shake the feeling that EJ's voice, whether imagined or real, carried a touch of bitterness. She took a deep breath, grappling with the confusion. Even if it was just her own guilty conscience making her hear his voice, she still felt compelled to respond. She whispered, "I do care. I never wanted you to be hurt like this," as though he could hear her every word. Guilt tugged at her because she had once worn a wire to expose EJ's misdeeds.